Welcome back to Mythstory and Legends, where we dive deep into the enthralling stories of myth and magic. Today, we continue our epic series on the 12 labors of Heracles, one of the greatest heroes of Greek mythology. If you missed our last episode on the slaying of the Ceryneian Hydra, make sure to check it out after this video. In this episode, we embark on a journey through dense forests and rugged mountains to track the elusive Ceryneian Hind, a creature with hooves of bronze and antlers of gold, sacred to the goddess Artemis. Join me as we explore how Heracles, tasked with an impossible feat, navigates his path through divine challenges and mortal dangers. Let's unravel the story of strength, wit, and persistence in the third labor of Heracles. Before we delve into the third labor, let's understand why Heracles was set on this daunting path. Born to Zeus and Alcmene, Heracles was subject to the wrath of Hera, Zeus's wife, who despised him for being one of Zeus's illegitimate offspring. To rid herself of Heracles, Hera sent him into a madness, causing him to commit unforgivable acts. Upon recovering, stricken with grief, Heracles sought purification and redemption. The Oracle of Delphi, the ancient world's most famous soothsayer, told him the path to atonement would be to serve King Eurystheus of Tiryns for 12 years. During this time, he was to complete any task the king set before him. Eurystheus, driven by fear of Heracles' potential power and encouraged by Hera, devised challenges meant to be impossible or fatal, the 12 labors. These labors were not only a means of punishment, but also of transformation, turning Heracles from a disgraced prince into a legendary hero. Each task tested his strength, intelligence, and resolve, proving his worth to the gods and mortals alike. The first two labors, the Nemean lion and the Ceryneian Hydra, brought Heracles back to Eurystheus with proof of his victories. However, these victories only increased Eurystheus's fear and Hera's malice, setting the stage for the third and one of the most cunning tasks yet: capturing the Ceryneian Hind, a creature swift and sacred, not meant to be caught by mortal hands. With this background set, let's venture into the rugged terrains of Ceryneia, where our hero faces not just the wilderness, but also the divine watchfulness of Artemis and Apollo in his quest to capture the golden-horned hind. Our tale resumes as Heracles receives his third command from King Eurystheus: to capture the Ceryneian Hind, a creature no mortal had hoped to catch. Known for its breathtaking speed and divine protection, the hind roamed the forests of Ceryneia, its antlers glinting like gold in the sunlight, its hooves never tiring. Heracles' quest led him deep into the mountains of Ceryneia, where the terrain was as challenging as the hunt itself. For a full year, he pursued the hind, glimpsing it only as fleeting flashes of gold among the trees. The chase was not just a physical pursuit, but a test of endurance and patience. As he followed the hind through seasons of rain and snow, the landscape became a familiar adversary. The mountains seemed to guard the hind, their steep slopes and thick forests shielding her from capture. Heracles learned to move silently, blending into the environment, his eyes always on the narrow tracks left by the divine creature. Before setting off, Heracles consulted with knowledgeable locals and hunters, learning about the hind's habits and the terrain it frequented. Aware that this task required more cunning than brute strength, Heracles prepared for a long and arduous hunt. He sharpened his skills, honed his senses, and set out into the wild, determined to approach his quarry with the respect due to a creature of the gods. Capturing the Ceryneian hind without causing it harm added a layer of complexity to Heracles' labor. He could not simply seize the creature. He had to ensure it remained unscathed, preserving its sacred status to Artemis. This constraint forced Heracles to innovate, to think beyond the conventional methods of hunting. He set traps that would ensnare without injuring, using ropes made from the strongest fibers found in the wild. Several attempts failed, the clever hind escaping each with ease, almost as if mocking the hero's efforts. Heracles adjusted his tactics with each failure, learning from his mistakes, his respect for the hind growing with each encounter. The hind, too, seemed to understand it was part of a divine test, occasionally pausing at a distance, its gaze almost contemplative, as if challenging Heracles to prove his worthiness. The dynamic between hunter and hunted blurred, their roles dictated by fate, but shaped by mutual respect. After a year of pursuit, through the changing seasons and landscapes, a moment came that changed the course of the hunt. Heracles, using his knowledge gained from months of observation, anticipated the hind's path and laid a network of ropes. As dawn broke over the mountains, the hind, in a rare moment of fatigue, stepped into the trap. Heracles approached slowly, his hands ready to calm the sacred creature. Just as Heracles gently secured the hind, the air shimmered, and the goddess Artemis, accompanied by her brother Apollo, appeared. They confronted Heracles, their presence as commanding as the rising sun. Artemis, protector of the wild, demanded to know why Heracles dared capture her sacred hind. Heracles, standing before the divine siblings, spoke not with defiance, but with humility. He explained his quest for redemption, his orders from Eurystheus, and his respect for the hind and its divine protector. He promised to return the hind unharmed if only allowed to fulfill his duty. Moved by Heracles' sincerity and the fairness of his words, Artemis agreed, but not without warning him about respecting the sanctity of life and nature. Heracles, relieved and grateful, vowed to honor her conditions, understanding the deeper lesson imparted by the gods. With the hind in tow, Heracles returned to Tiryns. The sight of Heracles succeeding where he was meant to fail frustrated King Eurystheus more than ever. He had hoped this task would be Heracles' undoing, yet here he was, presenting the Ceryneian Hind, alive and unharmed. Eurystheus, eager to rid himself of Heracles' presence, quickly commanded him to release the hind back to the wild, as Artemis had instructed. Heracles complied, watching as the hind sprinted back to its natural habitat, a symbol of Heracles' promise kept to the goddess of the hunt. The third labor, more than a test of strength, was a lesson in wisdom and respect for the divine order. Heracles' encounter with Artemis and Apollo taught him the importance of piety and humility, traits that would serve him throughout his subsequent labors and beyond. This labor, capturing the Ceryneian Hind, not only proved Heracles' heroic qualities, but also highlighted his growth as a protector of both the mortal and the divine realms. It is a tale that inspires respect for nature and the gods, reminding us of the balance that heroes must strike between duty and reverence. As we close this chapter of Heracles' journey, we are reminded of the intricate weave of fate, duty, and respect in the tapestry of mythology. Join us in the next episode as we follow Heracles to his next labor, which promises even greater challenges and deeper lessons. Thank you for joining us on this legendary journey through Greek mythology. If you enjoyed this tale, please like, subscribe, and share this video to help us bring more stories to life. Don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments below and tell us which labor you're most looking forward to.